Well, hey, welcome back to the old homestead, the old Sparks and Grit Garage homestead. First of all, just want to say thank you all for all your comments and concerns, well wishes, and all that. I had a lot of people asking if we were all right, if everything's were going good, and because we hadn't posted any videos in a while. It's been, you know, 5-6 weeks since we posted anything, and it's not because I didn't want to. It's just because we had some stuff happen. But it's all good stuff, no worries. So you'll get to see. I'll put up a few pictures, just kind of showing the development of things over the past 5 or 6 weeks. But just to let you know, we tried out the RV after we got it going, and had a couple of small local trips in it that it went pretty well. We had a few other issues that I'm debugging and working on. But in the midst of that, we had a couple other things happen. See, as you can see behind me here, there's a bunch of debris from trees there. No, it was not a tornado. Kind of looks like one. I've seen tornado damage, and it's very similar, I can tell you. But no, we had a lot of trees. We live in the middle of the woods, and there was a lot of 100-foot, 120-foot tall trees that are really close to the house and the shop. And every time we'd leave, or every time there was a storm with high winds or whatever, we'd pucker up a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, because these were some house killers and possibly people killers if they fell on it. So we've been wanting to get a bunch of those taken down. And we've been talking to some logging companies and finally found a gentleman who was willing to take the job on. But it was kind of a small job for him, and they had to work it in. And so as we were getting ready to go on our camping trip, they pretty much called and said, hey, we're available, we'll be there Monday. And so we had to change gears and kind of get ready for that. And then we had to take about a month working with them here, just to make sure they knew what to take and what not to take, and let them know where all the utilities were. And because this is around the house, man, these guys did a good job. They were, probably a couple hundred trees they took down right around the house and the shop, not to mention the ones up in the woods. But and they never damaged anything. Just really skilled professionals at what they did, and took good care of us, and were really fair and honest, which is something that you don't run into a lot these days, unfortunately. But there are a lot of good people out there, and I shouldn't say that, there are. But there's also some people who take advantage of you, and these guys are not those guys. So anyway, we had that happen, and then the coup de grace was our grandson was born. He was born 3 weeks early, which happened during all the logging and all that. So, it shows you that we trusted the loggers, a lot of trust in them, because, we live back in the woods. We got a gated driveway to keep people out that we don't want in here. And we just left it open for them, let them do it, because we had to be at the hospital. So like I said, little Elijah was about 3 weeks early, and our daughter had high blood pressure, a preeclampsia issue that was it's a pretty serious condition. And so we had to work through that and get her through that, and everything came out fine. Baby's fine, mama's fine, we're all fine. And I'm gonna put up some pictures. So I just want to apologize for not posting anything, because I know, it's like anything else. I got a lot of people that I subscribe to, a lot of YouTube channels that I subscribe to, and I look forward to when their new videos come out so I can watch them. So I know whenever, all my millions of subscribers were looking forward to my new videos coming out. It was a real letdown whenever they didn't come out. So as a joke. Anyway, we're back on the job again, and we're going to be putting some videos out, some pretty cool content, some stuff that some of y'all are going to really like. So if you'd like to, just go ahead and give us a thumbs up, subscribe, make a comment, I like to talk to you guys and ask questions, teach me something, whatever. We're just a bunch of gearheads, so may have another little gearhead coming up here for too long, Reminds me I got to work on me some kind of a custom stroller to take to these car shows, drag races. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video, and we'll catch you down the road. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the build you've all been waiting for. The build we've all been waiting for. What? Still? No. The build I've always been waiting for. That's it. Look behind me here. This is my 73 Mach-1 Mustang. Not a real popular body style. I'll admit it. Not everybody likes these. I have liked these cars since I was 7 years old. This exact car belonged to my older brother's friend in 1977. He owned it. It's a 73, so it was only 4 years old then. I fell in love with this car. I went to my brother took me everywhere. He was 10 years older than me. He was more like a dad to me than a brother. And he's passed away. He passed away in 2003. So, yeah, that left a mark. But anyway, this car, I had my eye on it then. I've always been into cars. Always loved them. And there's something about the styling of this car. Now, I'm going to put up a picture of what it looked like in 1987. I bought this car in 1986. I was 16 years old. And it's just really, it was meant to be. It was probably, I don't know, it was probably 1982. And I saw this car again, my brother's friend had sold it to someone else in our area. And I was coming in on the school bus and I saw this car come into the parking lot. And I loved it. It was gold and black. It had aluminum slots on it, ram air hood. Man, just a stocky looking muscle car, to me. I like the 69s. I love the 67s. I'm a Mustang guy. I love Mustangs. I love all of them. There's certain things about each one that I love, but for some reason, this car just did it for me. So anyway, I was on a school bus in 1982, saw this car pull in the parking lot, and a different guy driving it. The guy was actually in my sister's class, which was 4 years older than me at the time. And I just like, wow, there's that car again. I got to have it. I just love it. Well, then I turned 16, and I had my eye on a 68 Camaro that I was going to buy. I was going to trade my 65 Impala convertible that I had built. I built that car. I grew up on a junkyard, and I pulled that car out of the junkyard when I was 12 years old, and I spent 3 years building that car. I took body parts off of 5 different 65 Impalas in order to get enough body and interior parts to make it a whole car. My uncle was a body man. He painted it for me. And then before I got my driver's license, ended up selling it to my best friend, Jason. And he traded me a 72 Grand Prix and gave me $1,000 for that car. Well, I took that $1,000 and I was going to buy a 68 Camaro for $3,000. And I had a little part-time job after school, working in the Chevrolet dealership body shop. I was cleaning the body shop, detailing cars, making $3.35 an hour, working as many hours as I could just to save my own money. And I had to pay my own, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, I went to the bank. My mom took me down there to co-sign me a loan to buy the 68 Camaro. It was a 327 automatic car. Had a lot of Bondo in it, but it had been painted. It looked pretty good. It was a cool car. But the banker there, the guy writing the loans, he was a friend of ours. We knew him. But he said, "Hey, man, you got your heart set on a Camaro? I thought you was a Mustang guy." I said, "Well, I am." I said, "But there's just one Mustang that I just really love, and I can't find one like it. And this Camaro it's in the right price range, and it's a cool car, so I figured I'll get that, you know." He said, "Well, my nephew has a Mustang he's selling if you want to take a look at it." He said he actually only wants $2,300 for it. I was like, "Really?" This is 1986, so the car was 13 years old. So he said, "Yeah, just right up the road here. Just go take a look at it." So we drove up there and pulled in, and I'll be doggone if it wasn't his car. So, and I looked at my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm not leaving here without this car." And it was a real emotional for me because I really wanted that car. And she's like, "Well, let's go talk to him." So we went and talked to the guy, and he was from our school, and I knew of him. I didn't really know him at the time, but I knew of him. And he said, "Yeah," he said, "I've got a lot of projects. I've got another Mustang over here I'm working on." He had a 78 notchback. He had put a 460 in. He was working on that. And he said, "I need to sell this car just to generate money to keep this project going." And I was like, "Okay." Well, he had 4 of those big square fog lights under the bumper. And I said, "What do you want for it?" And he said, "Well, I want $2,300 for it." And I said, "Well, would you take $2,000?" And he said, "Well, if I can have my fog lights, I'll take $2,000." And I said, "You got a deal." So we went down to the bank, and my mom co-signed a loan for me to buy this car. And we went back and bought it and drove it home. The tires were old on it and everything, and header gaskets were leaking. My mom was a Spitfire. I mean, that's where I got my heavy foot from. And she wanted to switch places with me. It was about 8 miles to our house, and about halfway she switched places. And I'll tell you, she slid around every corner, burned the tires. It's a 4-speed car, 351 Cobra Jet. And we just had a ball going home. And about a week later, I had to buy tires for it. So I had to actually get a loan. I had to actually finance my tires to put on this car. And I bought some new BF Goodrich radial TAs for it. And man, that was just the best thing ever. So anyway, my car payment was $85 a month. I remember everything. My insurance was $364 every 6 months. And I'm not going to say I made all those myself. I've only made $3.35 an hour, and I worked after school. So there was only so many hours you could get in after school before they closed the place up. So I made as much as I could. My mom did help me out, and she didn't have much. I mean, my mom was divorced, working a job, not making much more money than me. And I tell you, she found a way to make it work to help me. And I got this car and paid payments on it, paid it off. But anyway, here it is. I let this car sit. It actually sat in a barn from 1991 to 2002. And I actually brought it. My wife and I had built a house, and we had a garage. I brought there and put it in the garage. Then I built myself a shop, put it in the shop. Did a little bit of work, tinkered on it here and there. Just never really had the time or the money to do it. Had 2 daughters, you know, running 2 businesses, working another full-time job. There was probably more money than time. So, but there wasn't a whole lot of extra money either. So we did what we could and let it sit. Well, then we finally moved back here. I'm back home in my hometown, and both my daughters are married, and I saved up some money for a long time and did some wheeling and dealing. I'm kind of a horse trader, and here we go. I've already spent a lot of money on this car, but now I'm going to put up a picture of a rendering I had done of this because that's kind of like a blueprint that I want to follow as far as the looks of this car goes, and we're going to make a nice piece out of it. Rock on.